She tried everything to save the station. Nothing worked. The temperature kept falling. And then she remembered a crow and a pitcher. The lights flickered for the third time in 1 hour. That was when Mara understood something was wrong. At Polar Station A17, lights didn't flicker. They stayed on, steady and obedient, because everything here depended on electricity, heat, communication, life itself. Outside, the wind screamed across the ice like an animal that never slept. Inside, the temperature was already dropping. Maya checked the control panel. Power reserves, 18%. Too fast. The main generator was failing. She ran through procedures she had practiced 100 times, restarts, reroutes, overrides. Nothing held. Each attempt drained more power, like scooping water from a sinking boat with bare hands. The station was isolated for another 6 weeks. No rescue, no backup team. Just her and the cold. She pulled on another layer and moved deeper into the station, breath visible now. The heater cycled off for longer pauses. Metal walls creaked as if shrinking. Maya had always believed in direct solutions. When something broke, you fixed it. When something stood in the way, you pushed harder. That mindset had gotten her this far. Now it was failing her. She slammed a fist against the console, then froze, angry at herself. Panic was expensive. Panic burned power. She forced herself to sit, think. The station wasn't out of energy. It still had scattered reserves, small auxiliary batteries, emergency cells meant to power tiny systems for short periods. Individually, they were useless. Together, still not enough to run the heaters directly. Or so the manual said. As she waited, staring at the dim ceiling lights, a memory surfaced, uninvited and strange. A book. Thin, yellowed pages, a story she had read as a child during a school trip while waiting out a storm in a mountain lodge. A crow. A pitcher. Stones. She almost laughed. Now, she thought, this is what my brain gives me? The memory felt childish, irrelevant, insulting even, but it lingered. Maya stood slowly and walked to the secondary systems bay. She didn't try to force power into the heaters again. Instead, she began redirecting energy, tiny amounts from one minor system to another. A sensor here, a display there, a redundant processor no one used anymore. Each transfer was insignificant, barely measurable. The station stayed cold. Minutes passed. Then she noticed something. The core temperature wasn't rising, but it had stopped falling. She kept going. She linked the micro-reserves into a slow, cumulative loop. Not enough to power heat outright, but enough to feed the thermal buffer gradually, stone by stone. The lights dimmed further. She worked by headlamp now, fingers stiff, movements careful. One mistake could collapse the entire network. Hours later, the heaters clicked on. Weak, barely audible, but real. Maya sank to the floor and laughed, not from joy, but from relief so deep it hurt. The station wouldn't be comfortable, it wouldn't be easy, but it would survive. Days later, as the storm cleared and the sky returned to its endless white silence, Maya sat alone with a mug of lukewarm tea. She thought again of the crow, not as a lesson, not as a moral carved into stone, just as a reminder. Some problems don't respond to force. Some doors don't open when you pull harder. Sometimes the answer isn't reaching further, it's changing how you think. And that's something that doesn't belong only in polar stations or survival stories. It shows up in everyday life. When a goal feels out of reach, when effort isn't paying off, when pushing harder only drains what little energy you have left, maybe the solution isn't a bigger move. Maybe it's a smaller one, repeated, patient, intentional, one stone at a time. If this story stayed with you, leave a like so I know it reached you. And if you want more stories like this, make sure you're subscribed. There are more waiting.